What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Solana because its price is doing exactly what we were talking about in the last video. And so with that in mind, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. So looking at Solana here, what we can see is that its price has now broken above this previous point of resistance that we talked about in the last video. You know, in the last one, I told you all, look, I think we have 24 to 48 hours before we do see a breakout from Solana. I said, statistically speaking, we should see it be able to break through this resistance line back to the upside, and I gave it about a 60 to 65% chance of happening. And so because of that, that is just what I assumed was going to happen, but I obviously gave you guys my invalidation levels and told you what could happen if the price did capitulate to the downside. Well, now we can see here is that Solana's price has done what we talked about it doing once this breakout did happen. I told you all, look, once we get a break above this resistance level, you can't get too excited, and I'm personally not going to be doing much buying. And the reason being, and the reason that that is a little bit, counterintuitive to what we generally do, is because I knew we have this major point of resistance right above us. I told you all the $200 to $196 level is incredibly strong, not only from the resistance that we put in here, not only from the psychological level of it being $200 itself, right, but also the fact that our Fibonacci levels were also sitting at the top of that zone, mid-channel support around 195, 786 level currently sitting around $199.73, so let's just call it $200, right? There's a ton of resistance right here. I mean, so much bearish liquidity, and because of that, I said, look, I'm not going to be buying the moment we break out, because I think that we're still going to struggle and we're going to need to battle to break above this $200 level. And now what you can see is that its price, although did break out, the breakout got kind of cut short because it ran into that point of resistance just like we thought it would, and now it's going sideways. I mean, we've been reading Solana like a book throughout this entire thing that it's been doing. Absolutely awesome. Keep smashing it, you guys. So with that in mind, what happens next? That's always the question. What happens next? So there's a couple things I'm paying attention to. First and foremost, I really just want to see Solana break $200 to the upside. If Solana breaks $200 to the upside, I am then in a position in which I believe in this mid to macro run that we're in right now, or even short to mid run that we're in right now, that we will see Solana surpass this previous macro high of roughly $210. I'm under the belief of that because of the fact that, generally speaking, when you have a Fibonacci level that works like this, okay, swing high down to swing low, when you surpass that 786 level, okay, when you surpass this level like this, even if the price then falls to the downside, the likelihood of you recovering and coming back up to eventually surpass that level again, maybe a couple days or a couple weeks later, is extremely high. Why? Because the door is now opened to the upside. I say the 786 level is just going to act like a door. You're either going to get locked out and you're going to get forced to the downside, or you're going to creep through it, and even if you get rejected, that door is now open, and breaking through it again is extremely easy. And so because of that, I am looking for that. Like, that's literally all I'm waiting for. I was waiting for it here, I was waiting for it here, and now I'm waiting for it here. I just need to see Solana's price able to break $200 so that I can be confident that we're not about to get some type of more mid to macro correction or some even more consolidation or sideways movement that could last into the middle to the end of April, right? So I'm still not confident yet that we're going to see Solana continue this run over the next few weeks or maybe even the next month or two, and I will become much more confident once we break that 200 level. So at this given point, I'm definitely not buying. I'm not buying any Solana at all while we're sitting directly under this level, because we're sitting directly under a key level of resistance. That's just not a good idea in general. Now let's talk about the downside, okay? Let's say, well, what if Solana's price doesn't break $200? Let's go over that narrative, because it's obviously a possibility. It's not the biggest possibility, but it is a possibility. So if Solana's price is unable to break $200, I really wouldn't be all that concerned until the point in which we lost, let's call it $190 to the downside. Now, realistically, I'm looking at this ascending level of support, but I like to give you guys specific numbers, so let's just call it $189, just to be safe, $189 to the downside. If Solana's price does pull through $189 to the downside, it would concern me a little bit. And the reason it would concern me a little bit is because we were unable to clear the $200 level. We got rejected by the 786 level. We failed to establish that breakout there, and instead we got rejected to the downside, now coming back to retest some of these support levels. And in terms of being concerned, I don't care at all if this happens, but I do understand the short-term concern that the price may start to pull to the downside, and obviously some people may get liquidated or go negative, so I do understand the concern there, but I want to make that clear. I'm not really concerned. I don't really care if Solana's price goes to 150 from here. We were buying this thing at $20, right? But anywho, so if that is the case, okay, I want you to be prepared for it, because there is something that I would personally be doing. If Solana's price does come back down to lose this ascending level of support, let's just roughly call it 189. I'm actually going to start preparing to purchase at its breakdown targets. Now, you may say, Tyler, how do you find breakdown targets of an ascending support level? Well, it's actually pretty easy. Generally speaking, what Solana and many other major cryptos will do is that if they lose a support level, they're going to go back to retest the previous times that you touched that support level. So these moments in time in which we bounced off of this line are going to become your breakout targets. And you're going to see Solana's price very likely start coming back down to retest them. One there, you have one there, you have one there, and then you have one there. And so what you can see here is that if I draw a line at all of these support levels in which we were touching all throughout this run to the upside, there's a ton of liquidity here. There's a ton of support. And because of that, if Solana's price does start pulling to the downside, although my average cost is extremely low, I still think this would be a good time to start dollar cost averaging. I still think this would be a good time to start buying. And because of that, I would start to look to accumulate once we saw Solana enter into that 184 to 167 range at all of these levels of support. At that point, I would assume, kind of just a rough guess, but I would assume that my company's indicator would start to go off just like it was back here, right? We started pulling down into some of these support levels. This is when we started buying right here, right here, right here, and right here before that rally to the upside. And you guys know we designed the indicator so that I would have something that just sends me text messages on my phone saying, hey, it's a good time to buy this crypto that you like. And I think that what we would see is that it would start going off again if we did get this pull to the downside here. So that would be another confirmation. But again, that's all purely speculative. And so with that in mind, if you guys do want to use the indicator, you can see the proof is in the pudding. I mean, you can see what it's done just a couple of days ago. The gains have been ridiculous. So if you want to check it out, you can get 20% off. There's a 30-day money back guarantee. So there's really no risk for you at all. So go check it out. Let me know what you think. But look, at the end of the day, I'm prepared, man. I'm ready for whatever happens. It doesn't matter to me. If Solana breaks $200, great. I'm not really going to be aping in even at that point. I'm just going to be happy. I'm just going to be happy that his price is going. Maybe I'll buy a little bit, but I'm surely not going to buy a lot. And the reason being is, again, like I said, we're doing buys just back here recently, way lower than where we are. I mean, off of this purchase we did back here, the price is now up 20% over the span of a week. And so knowing that, obviously, I wouldn't go huge buy, but I definitely would buy a little bit. But if its price does start to pull back and, pull to the downside, I definitely would be doing some bigger accumulations here, expecting that we could see some type of macro, high or low established, and then a continuation back to the upside. So overall, the summary of the day is while we're under $200, don't get too excited. Don't get too bullish. We need to see $200 cleared before we can even talk about 225 to 240. And so until then, I would maybe be laying low, laying cautious, watching this thing a little bit closely, maintaining your stability, staying, don't get too anxious, too antsy, just sit back, relax, let the $200 level clear before you can start making those bigger predictions to, 230, 240, 250. Okay, so I will continue to update you as this does play out. If its price does not play out that way, if it does fall to the downside, I told you I would start accumulating between that 189 to 164 level. So we're ready for anything. You guys know I don't like to make big, bold predictions without giving you invalidations. I think it's an egotistical thing to do for me to say I think Solana's price is going to go up or down and not tell you what I would do if it doesn't, right? I don't care about being right. I care about making money. And I think that's what you're here for. And so that's what we're going to continue to do like we have been all year. So I hope you guys do appreciate it. We've been talking about Solana for the last 2 to 3 years straight. So if you do enjoy these Solana videos, make sure that you smash the like button so more people see these videos. Subscribe to the channel so you see more videos. And I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.